Welcome back to my channel. This is part 1 of the ownership experience of the Tiger 800, one of the most sold and trusted adventure bikes in India. In this video, we will be speaking to Sherman and why did he purchase the Triumph 800 over the competition. Sherman, welcome to my channel.
Thanks man, thanks for having me.
Okay, so we'll be speaking about your real life ownership regarding your Triumph 800. If I'm not mistaken, you've been owning this machine since the last 4 years, right?
Yeah.
So let's begin with
good years, I could say.
4 good years, yes. So let's begin with why did you select the Triumph 800 say versus a much cheaper versus 650? Because if I'm not mistaken, you were opting for that as well, or that was a consideration in the adventure category bike at that particular point of time.
Yeah. So actually, what happened was, I mean, if I can go into a little flashback, I used to work for Mercedes-Benz, and back then I didn't know. I mean, the only bike for me, it was just I had an impulse and I used to ride that. So that's when Sherman Motors also opened Triumph, and Tiger was one of the bikes I rode, and it just felt like a bigger. It's a very wrong way to put it, but it felt like a bigger impulse. Comfortable, nice, good suspension. So the Tiger was always at the back of my mind. This is a bike I would always look at. But then, I switched to an Enfield, which was, you also know, being a part of it, the worst experience I've ever had. Then I got a Duke, which was pretty nice. I mean, I had an amazing experience with that. But now I was getting married and I said, time to upgrade. And the Versys, yes, was a big consideration because the cost factor.
It was almost half.
Exactly. But then, I realized one thing that, we are guys, like, when we meet up, how we talk, like, "Arey bro, bada bike chahiye." So I felt that, see, when I got an impulse, I wanted a bigger bike, so I got an Enfield. Enfield didn't have that much power, so I bought a Duke. Then I wanted an even bigger bike. So I realized that if I buy a Versys, then, I would, again, after 2 years, want a bigger bike.
Yeah. So, well, let's just go with the best one initially.
Exactly. But besides that, like, see, initial expenditure is different and expenditure through the course is different.
Yes. So I will be coming to the expenditure post purchasing the bike in terms of maintenance later. But my question is, did you not try out the Benelli GT? If I'm not mistaken, that was also, I don't know if you call it an adventure bike, but it was at least marketed as an adventure bike by Benelli.
So my friend, I won't take his name, owns a pizza joint, very close friend. He had the GT, and I saw it, and Benellis, right? Like, they sound like godsend.
Yes.
So I had to go and try it. But what I realized is it was not very easy maneuverable, and at the same time, the weight, the braking, it had a very delayed braking. Like, it used to be like it was not gradual. Like, you slam the brakes and there is no feel at all, and the bike is still rolling, and then you jam it too hard and it locks up.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, and 250 odd kilos, so it's not something like, for me it was 100 kilo difference, because I was riding a Duke which was almost 150, and this was 250. Like, 100 kilos is more than my weight. So that much difference to handle in a bike, at least mentally, it was not very okay for me. And even for the Versys, I rode a friend's bike. It was a nice bike, very good suspension, I would say, like class leading. But then that is a factor that you cannot have a bike to go everywhere if you have 17-inch rims. So that was a big factor. I mean, also besides the service cost, which we will talk later. Our friends already have it. But then I also, I said I want one bike that can do everything, like a little, not hard. I'm still learning, and you do better off-road than me. So I was like, I need a bike to at least do part of it, little bit, with ease, without traumatizing me. At the same time, I can probably take it on a track day or something if I could. At the same time, I can do long distance tours. And yes, we are guys, if I can use the word, some good sound to it. And versus saying a twin was not giving me that. And so I said, why not I once and for all pick up something that would satisfy me and I don't need to look at a bigger bike. But Kita hai, but then yeah, logically if I look at it, things now after 4 years, I'm like I don't need. I mean, this bike does everything for me, and I don't. I mean, my wife like earlier used to look at all which next bike to buy, bike videos, and I look at only phone videos because very affordable hai.
And you don't really need to upgrade from a 800 because it basically does absolutely everything you need. And
Triumph was, I mean, the guys at Triumph, when I bought the bike, they gave me a sweet deal wherein I got an exhaust free. So, yeah, so the part was that so in Triumph, they don't just put the exhaust and give it to you, they also remap it. So from 95 odd PS, my bike is 99 point something, or you can consider of 100 PS, which is more than enough for, in India at least.
yes, it is. I mean, your Duke's 42 horsepower was also more than enough. 100 is like
100
absolutely.
is like
Yes.
And with the Arrow, it sounds absolutely awesome. So,
okay.
I mean, nothing to look back and say, oh shit, I should have got something else.
Okay, and any reason why you purchased the base variant as opposed to the top end or the off-road oriented variant?
Yeah, just one word.
Budget.
Autocar. Budget. Autocar. No, so I had finalized on the Versys. The only thing was not getting a proper test ride. But at the same time, I came to Triumph. I said, you know what? I'll just put in my papers and see whether my loan gets accepted or no, because I had worked out a deal somewhere else, and I was assured that I would be getting some 17 odd or 18 odd thousand for the next certain amount of time. So if my EMI fits in that without hindering my other income, would be fine. So that is one of the reasons I just came. I didn't even book the vehicle. They were kind enough. I just gave my papers. They put up in Yes Bank, and luckily the loan got approved for a 7-year term, which is a very, very long term. And banks know you. It took almost 1.5 months. So this seemed pretty sweet. I said, okay, 7 saal, as long as I know that my income is not hindered.
That's good. And you had just recently purchased the Isuzu D-Max, so
exactly.
V-Max, not D-Max, right?
V-Cross.
So that was another issue in terms of loan approval. I remember that as well.
Yeah, plus the whole wedding thing. So I was like, iske baad to bike
No, that's actually a very smart move. You purchased a super bike or a big adventure bike before marriage. That's a very smart move, personally speaking. Okay, so now this bike weighs approximately 200 kgs, right? What's the exact weight?
So it was around 214. That is around 3 kilos lighter than the Versys.
Okay.
And
what? Lighter?
Yeah. And now after putting the Arrow, it is 210 odd.
So it is still 40 kgs lighter than the Benelli as well.
Yeah, approach. And that is a huge weight difference.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Benelli did not have that weight dissipate. I mean, the weight did not disappear the moment you started riding, right? It still felt like a top-heavy bike, because that's what I had experienced with the Benelli.
So on a straight road, the bike is amazing. Like you just feel you're riding on a sofa. But वो 90 degree का 85 भी होएगा ना, then you're like, what's the bike's going down?
That's how it is.
Yeah. Okay. At the same time, what happens the Versys is, though being a good bike and flick it, but then it feels more top heavy because the smaller rim and a bigger body. Here, what happens is the 19-inch rim kind of balances it out.
Yeah,
so the weight is distributed.
Versus when I feel there's a slight mismatch in design sense, the tires look a bit just too small for the bike. So, I mean, Versys design still looks really good, but I feel the tires look a bit small for an adventure category bike. So, with reference to the Tiger, you've got the best of everything in the sense it corners also pretty good, and obviously you've done this track day on a go-kart track, so you've seen how good your bike corners over there.
Like I was surprised, like a noob like me could have no chicken strips left. I'll probably share some pictures with you. So even I was like, okay, this seems quite amazing. So the guy on the Tiger 12 had the 800 XE, which is the off-road one. Even he was pretty much going down on the bike, and I was pretty surprised. I mean, different skill altogether. So I was like, hats off, dude.
Also,
but then those 21-inch rims, so he still managed to do that very well, very, very well.
Also, credit goes due to Triumph engineers for engineering such a nice bike in terms of weight distribution and lean angle possibilities as well. So, I mean, the bike is also a very well engineered bike over here.
The triple engine is, I would say, a gem. It's very linear. Like, there have never been a situation wherein I whack the throttle and the bike gives me a cardiac arrest. It's
okay, it's proper linear. There's no...
Yeah, the only issue is that sometimes when you want that jerk, the bike is still like, हाँ हाँ मैं जाऊँगा, tension मत लो. So I'm like, okay, a little bit boring.
So it is predictable, which is good
It's
for an
predictable.
experienced as well as a new rider.
Experienced riders may find it a little bit laid back.
Okay.
For a new rider, like somebody like me, it's apt.
Perfect. You were a new rider, obviously, 4 years ago.
Yeah. So for me, it was pretty much apt.
Okay. Stay tuned for part 2, where we shall be covering how expensive is it to actually own a 800cc adventure bike with reference to fuel efficiency as well as maintenance. If you did like the video, please do subscribe, and we look forward for seeing you in the next one. Thank you.